I watched her tap our joint card on the terminal and laugh. He won't mind. And that was the exact moment I stopped trying to understand and started making clean exits. It was mid-October in Minneapolis, the kind of fall where the air smells like damp leaves and the sky stays silver all day. I'm 41 and I manage operations for a mid-sized building services company. My job is boring on purpose: schedules, invoices, vendor compliance. If something goes wrong, it's usually because somebody ignored a simple detail. My girlfriend Leila was 36. She worked as an HR generalist for a medical device manufacturer. She was smart, organized, and usually careful with her words, which is why the shift in her behavior hit me like a cold draft under a door. It wasn't one big thing at first. It was little things that didn't add up. The week before, she started needing quiet in the evenings. She'd de-angle her phone away when she typed. If I walked into the room, she'd click the screen off a beat too fast and ask me a question she didn't care about, like she was covering a sound. She also began dressing like she was heading to a photo shoot on days she claimed she was just doing paperwork. On Tuesday, she came home with her nails done in a pale, glossy color I'd never seen on her. She made a point of holding her hands up to the light. "Looks good," I said. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Thanks, I had a meeting." "What kind of meetings?" "A difficult one," she said, and then she changed the subject so quickly I almost missed it. We'd been together 2 years and living together for one. We weren't married, but we were in the part of a relationship where your life starts moving as one unit. We de-signed a new lease to move into a bigger place at the start of November. The holding deposit was already paid. We'd booked movers. We had a weekend trip planned to visit my sister in Wisconsin because she'd been bugging us for months to act like adults and pick a date already. In 2 Fridays from then, I had an appointment with a jeweler to finalize a custom ring setting. I'd already put down a deposit, not because I thought a ring fixes anything, but because I believed we were building something solid. That Thursday, Leila got home early, showered, and changed into a fitted black dress that looked more like a dinner dress than a work event outfit. She wore a coat over it, but I caught the hem when she bent to tie her shoes. "You're dressed up," I said. She didn't look up. "Company's thing. On a Thursday night." "It's not a big deal," she said. Her voice had that flat edge people use when they want a conversation to end before it starts. "Where is it?" She hesitated just a fraction. Then she said, "North Loop." I nodded slowly. "Who's going?" "People," she said, like the Telltales were an inconvenience. I wasn't suspicious by nature. I'm not the type to track someone or dig through their stuff, but I am the type who notices when patterns change because that's my whole job, and her story didn't have the normal texture of truth. Truth has stray details. Lies are smooth. She kissed my cheek by the door. "Don't wait up," she said. "Drive safe," I replied. When she left, the apartment felt too quiet. I fed our cat, Winston, and tidied the kitchen without thinking. Then I sat down at the little kitchen table we'd bought off Marketplace and opened the shared laptop we used for bills. We had one joint checking account for rent and utilities. We also had a joint credit card we used for groceries, trips, and moving costs because it kept things simple and the rewards were decent. I wasn't trying to catch her. I was doing what I always do at the end of the week, making sure the bills were paid and nothing weird was pending before autopay hit. That's when a notification popped up in the corner of the screen from the card account. It wasn't even hidden. We both had it set to send alerts for purchases over $50. Purchase approved, $186.42, Marigold Room. I stared at it. Marigold Room wasn't a work event space. It was a small restaurant in the North Loop that did candlelit tasting menus and had a waiting list on weekends. Then another alert came in. Purchase approved, $48, rideshare. I didn't feel rage. I felt that quiet internal click again, my brain lining up facts like paperwork. I opened the card account activity. The charge was real and already posted as pending. Under it, there was a note in the merchant description, "Dinner for 2." My hand stayed steady, but my stomach sank. Dinner for 2 isn't illegal. It isn't proof of cheating by itself. But combined with the secrecy, the new nails, the "don't wait up," and the way she dodged basic questions, it was a picture forming. I didn't call her, I didn't text, I didn't do a dramatic thing at 8:30 at night. I did a boring thing. I opened our shared email inbox, the one we used for rent, utilities, and anything related to moving. Leela had suggested it early on because she liked everything in one place. It was still logged in on the shared laptop, and both of our names were on it. In the inbox, there was an email from Open Table that had come in at 2:11 p.m. Subject: reservation confirmed, Marigold Room, 8:00 p.m. Party size 2. Special request, quiet table, celebrating a big step. I read that line twice. It wasn't a typo. It wasn't an auto-filled joke from a stranger. It was typed deliberately. I sat there for a full minute, just breathing, letting the initial shock pass without letting it turn into an impulse. Then I forwarded the email to my personal address with the subject line intact. Not to shame her, not to blast it, just because I've learned the hard way that if something becomes a dispute, you keep your own copies. Then I opened the folder where we kept the new lease documents. The new place wasn't just a plan, it was signed. We were scheduled to pick up keys on October 28th. The holding deposit was $1,500. It had a refund policy if you canceled within 7 days of signing, minus a small administrative fee, but after that it became non-refundable. We had signed it on Monday. It was Thursday. We were still within the window. That was the moment the inner switch flipped completely. I realized it wasn't just about dinner. It was about power, about her deciding she could take the future I was building and still treat me like a piece of furniture she could move out of the way. If I waited, I'd lose money, lose time, and lose more respect. If I acted now, I could unwind things cleanly and legally. I started with the lease. I wrote a short email to the property manager using my normal professional tone. Subject: cancellation request, lease for Unit 214, signed 1014. Hi Dana, I'm writing to request cancellation of the lease for Unit 214 signed on 1014. Please confirm in writing the cancellation and refund amount according to the 7-day policy. Refund can be returned to the original payment method. Thank you, Grant Holloway. I sent it at 8:56 p.m. Next, I called the moving company. Our deposit was $200. Their voicemail said cancellations within 48 hours received a full refund. I left a message with our confirmation number and asked for email confirmation. Then I emailed them too, because voicemail alone is not a receipt. Subject: cancel move, confirmation MV30811. Then I opened the jeweler's email. The ring setting deposit was $900. The policy was clear. Custom work begins after final approval. If you cancel before approval, you can get a refund minus design fee. My appointment to approve the wax model was scheduled for the following Friday. Nothing had begun yet. I wrote a simple email. Subject: cancel order, appointment 1025, Holloway. Hi Elise, I need to cancel the custom setting order associated with my upcoming appointment on 1025. Please confirm cancellation and the refund amount per the agreement. Thank you, Grant. I didn't feel heroic typing it. I felt tired, but it was the right move. Then I did one more thing that felt small but mattered. I logged into the joint card account and froze the card, not as punishment, as a boundary. If we were splitting, I wasn't going to be funding surprises while she rewrote the story later. At 9:30 p.m., I stood up and walked into the bedroom. Her closet took up more space than mine. Her skincare lined the bathroom shelf like a store display. My stuff was compact, because I'd always lived like someone who could pack quickly if needed. I pulled out 2 suitcases and a storage tote. I packed only what was mine: my work clothes, my personal documents, my laptop and chargers, the watch my father gave me, the old hardcover books I'd had since college, Winston's vet paperwork because the cat was under my name and my card. I didn't take the TV, I didn't take the couch we split, I didn't take kitchen items we'd bought together, I didn't take her things, I didn't want to fight about property, I wanted a clean line. I also printed the lease cancellation policy page and the open table confirmation, not to wave it in her face, to remind myself later that I didn't imagine it. I left a note on the kitchen counter, not a long letter, 2 sentences. Leela, I saw the reservation and the charge. I'm canceling the new lease and the move. I'm staying elsewhere tonight. We'll talk tomorrow. Then I loaded my suitcases into my car and took Winston's carrier. The cat complained the whole way down the stairs. I drove to my coworker Nina's place. Nina was in her late 50s, the kind of woman who keeps spare blankets and doesn't ask messy questions when someone shows up looking calm but hollow. Months earlier, after a brutal winter storm that knocked out my heat, she'd told me, "If you ever need a quiet couch, my guest room is there." When I arrived, she opened the door, took one look at the cat carrier, and stepped aside. "Guest room," she said. "Bathroom is across the hall. You want tea or water?" "Water's fine," I said. I slept badly but deeply, like my body was finally allowed to collapse after carrying something heavy for too long. The next morning, I woke up to my phone buzzing. 4 missed calls from Layla. A text, "Where are you? What is this note?" Another text, "Why would you do this without talking to me?" I didn't answer while my head was still full of sleep and emotion. I showered, got dressed, and fed Winston in the guest room. Then I checked my email. At 7:18 a.m., Dana, the property manager, had replied. "Hi, grant received. Lease cancellation will be processed. Per policy, holding deposit refund will be issued minus $150 administrative fee. Please allow 5-7 business days. Regards, Dana R." I stared at the message for a second. It was strange how a simple email could feel like a door locking. At 7:42 a.m., the moving company emailed too. "Cancellation confirmed. Deposit will be refunded to the original card within 3-5 business days. Receipts confirmations, Qley." At 8:10 a.m., I drove back to the apartment, not to beg, not to spy, to speak calmly in person and remove the rest of my belongings without drama. Leela opened the door before I knocked. Her eyes were red. Her hair was pulled into a messy knot. She looked like she'd been crying and rehearsing a speech. "What are you doing?" she demanded. "I'm getting my things," I said. "You canceled the lease," she said, voice sharp. "Are you serious?" "Yes," I replied. She stepped closer like she wanted to physically block me, because I had dinner. "Because you lied," I said, "and because you made it clear I was not welcome in your life when it mattered." Her face twisted. "I didn't say that." "You did," I said, keeping my voice even, "when you said you didn't want me there because I'd complicate it, when you booked a quiet table for 2 and called it a big step." Her eyes flashed. "You went through my email." "No," I said, "the reservation is in the shared inbox." The card notification popped up on the shared laptop. Everything I saw was on accounts we both use. She scoffed, and that was the minimization. "It was just dinner. He's in town for a conference. We talked, that's it." "Then you wouldn't have hidden it," I said. Here came the blame. "You make everything feel like an audit," she snapped. "Every conversation turns into your little checklist. I wanted one night where I didn't have to explain myself." I nodded once. Adults explain things when they share a home and a future. She stared at me like she couldn't believe I wasn't yelling. "You're really going to throw this away over one meal?" I stepped around her gently and walked into the living room. My side of the bookshelf looked sparse already. I went to the bedroom and pulled my last work bag from the closet. "I'm not throwing it away," I said from the hallway. "I'm stopping it from getting worse." She followed me, voice rising. "So you just ran to punish me?" "I didn't punish you," I said. "I protected my finances and my time. The lease had a cancellation window. I used it." Then came the insult stage. She crossed her arms and laughed, not kindly. "God, you're so predictable," she said. "You're not even hurt. You just want to be right." I looked at her for a second, and the sadness hit me cleanly. "I am hurt," I said. "I'm just not going to perform it for you." Her mouth opened and then her eyes filled. The tears came fast, like a new strategy. "It wasn't like that," she said, voice cracking. "He wanted to apologize. He said he's been thinking about me. I wanted closure, that's all." I kept my tone steady. Closure doesn't require a quiet table and celebrating a big step. She wiped her cheeks with the back of her hand. "He wrote that, not me." "Maybe," I said, "but you still went. You still told me I'd complicate it. You still used our card and said I wouldn't mind." She froze at that because she knew I'd seen it clearly. She tried again, softer now. "Where did you go last night?" "That's not important," I said. "It is to me," she insisted. "It's not information you need," I replied. She stared, stunned, like she'd never heard a boundary spoken without anger. I picked up Winston's carrier and my last suitcase. "I'll pay my half of rent through the end of the month," I said. After that, we'll follow the current lease terms. I'm emailing the landlord today to document that I'm moving out. Utilities in my name will be transferred. I'm not arguing about this." Her voice went tight. "So that's it. You don't even want to talk." "I'm talking now," I said. "I'm just not negotiating." She stepped closer, tears falling again. "You can't do this to me." "I'm not doing anything to you," I said. "I'm making a decision for me." I walked out with my suitcase and the cat, and I didn't slam the door. I didn't say a dramatic line. I just left. That afternoon, I did exactly what I said I'd do. I emailed our landlord. Subject: Notice of Tenant Move Out, Unit 3C, Holloway. I explained that I would be vacating, that I would continue paying my share through October 31st, and that I requested written acknowledgement. I also requested guidance on removing my name from utilities and the renter's insurance policy. The landlord replied within a few hours with a short acknowledgement and instructions. It wasn't emotional, it was business. That helped. Layla didn't keep it business. That week, she tried to reach me through every available doorway. First, she called and left a voicemail that swung between angry and pleading. "You can't just decide this," she said. "Call me back. This is insane." I didn't respond. Then I got a call from an unknown number at 9:13 p.m. I let it go to voicemail. It was her. "Please," she said, voice low. "Just answer. I'm not okay." I didn't respond. Then she emailed me from our shared inbox with the subject line, "Please be reasonable." In the email she wrote, "I'm willing to admit I should have told you, but your reaction is extreme. You embarrassed me by canceling things behind my back." I forwarded it to my personal email and replied once, short and clear. "Leela, please contact me only by email going forward. I will not discuss this by phone. Please do not call from unknown numbers. This is for clarity and documentation." 2 days later, her friend Camille texted me. "Hey, Leela's really upset. Can you at least meet her and talk? She says you misunderstood." I replied politely, "I'm not meeting. I didn't misunderstand. I'm handling logistics. Please don't act as a go-between." That was 3 attempts: voicemail, unknown number, intermediary. I kept everything calm, documented, and lawful. The quiet karma wasn't something I arranged. It was just the natural consequence of someone making a mess and then being surprised they had to live in it. Leela had counted on the new apartment. She'd already told her coworkers she was moving. She'd already posted a little story on her private Instagram about new beginnings with a picture of moving boxes. When the lease got canceled, she had to explain why the keys weren't happening. People notice when someone's story doesn't match reality. She also couldn't afford our current rent alone long-term. I had been paying more than half because my income was higher and I didn't mind. After I moved out, she had to face the numbers without the cushion. A week later, I got an email from the jeweler. Elise wrote, "Hi Grant, cancellation confirmed. Refund of $780 will be issued to your card within 7-10 business days. $120 design fee retained per agreement. Best, Elise." I saved it. More closure, the boring kind that actually works. Around the same time, I received a bank notification from the joint account, the one we used only for rent and utilities. Leela had withdrawn $600 in cash. It wasn't a crime, she was on the account, but it was another boundary crossing, and it proved my decision to freeze the joint card had been correct. I emailed her once. "I saw the withdrawal. I will be moving the remaining balance into a new account for my portion of upcoming rent. Please confirm your preferred method for paying utilities through 1031. She responded with a long message accusing me of treating her like a stranger. She ended it with, "You're so cold." I didn't reply to that part. I replied to the utility question only. 2 weeks after I left, Nina came home from a neighborhood gathering with a look on her face like she was deciding how to say something gently. "I ran into someone who knows your girlfriend," she said carefully. "I didn't ask, it just came up." I didn't interrupt. She sighed. Apparently the ex, the one she met, asked her to help cover some expenses. Hotel problem, something about a corporate card not working, and then he left town. I sat there quietly, not satisfied, not smug, just tired. That was the piece people rarely admit out loud. When someone crosses boundaries, they often aren't chasing love. they're chasing a feeling, and feelings are expensive. By early November, I had my own place, a small one-bedroom in St. Paul near a park. Nothing fancy, clean, quiet, my name alone on the lease, my bills set up the way I like them. Winston settled in within a day like he'd been waiting for peace. I also got offered a new role at work. It wasn't a dramatic dream job. It was a promotion that came with more responsibility and a higher salary because I'd taken on a complicated contract earlier in the year. The timing wasn't some revenge fantasy. It was just life continuing. I didn't post about it. I didn't rub it in anyone's face. I called my sister and told her, and she said, "Good, you deserve calm." About 2 months after the breakup, in mid-December, I was in a different part of the city, in a warm indoor farmers market they set up for winter. There were string lights, local honey, and people in heavy coats holding cups of soup like it was medicine. I was there to pick up a few things, and because it was nice to be around normal life again. I was standing near a stall selling bread when I heard my name. Grant. I turned, and there she was. Leela looked like she'd been living in a storm. Her hair was pulled back, but not neatly. Her eyes searched my face like she was hoping to find the old version of me still there. "Hi," I said politely. She swallowed hard. "I didn't know you'd be here." "I come sometimes," I said. She nodded too fast. "Can we talk, just for a minute, please?" I looked at her and felt something I didn't expect. Not anger, not longing, just distance, like I was looking at a chapter I'd already finished. "I can give you a minute," I said. Her shoulders loosened like she thought that meant hope. "I messed up," she said. "I handled it wrong. I was stupid. I don't know what I thought." I nodded once. "Okay." She blinked, confused by the lack of argument. "I miss you," she said. "I miss how steady everything was." I kept my voice gentle but firm. Steady isn't something you get to break and then request again. Her eyes filled. It wasn't worth it. He wasn't worth it. None of it was. "I believe you," I said. That seemed to shock her even more. She stepped closer. "Then maybe we can fix it." I shook my head once. "No." Her face crumpled. "Why not? People make mistakes." "They do," I said, "and I'm not punishing you. I'm just done." She stared at me, tears falling. "So you're really leaving me in the past?" "I'm leaving that version of my life in the past," I said. "I hope you take care of yourself." She opened her mouth like she wanted to bargain, but I didn't give her anything to push against. I didn't mention the reservation note. I didn't mention the dinner charge. I didn't mention the cash withdrawal. I didn't need to. Those facts were already living with her. I gave her a small nod, turned, and walked toward the exit with my bag of bread and honey. Outside, the air was sharp and clean, and I realized I could finally breathe without waiting for the next twist. If you've ever had to choose between staying and hoping, or leaving with your dignity intact, tell me what you did and what you wish you'd done sooner.